sound tired, man. Over here huffing and puffing.
Hey, man, you too, dude. I asked you to put an article in the doc, and you're like, I put it in the doc.
I did. I even know if I did. I noticed I did that. I
No, you did, but no, I am tired. Work's kind of kicking my ass right now. So I mean, not kicking my ass, but it's like, it's just we're kind of in overdrive at the moment, and it's one of those periods where you're like, you need to be like fully engaged for like the full 8 hours. Like you feel like you can't even leave your fucking computer for 2 seconds. It's that kind of time frame right now, and I'm like. I like get up to go to the bathroom and I'm like, I have my phone with me looking at fucking Teams. I'm like, it's that mode, and it's tiring. So, but it's good though. It it means job security. So that's always a good thing. But yeah, what about you, man? How are you? You couldn't make our board game session this weekend, so.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me for spending time with my wife.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. Like priorities, bro. Bros before hoes. Okay, didn't you not learn that? Did you not learn that when you were younger? Oh, am I not allowed to say that anymore?
Don't call my wife a hoe, man. Come on now.
True. True. I didn't. You know what I meant? Okay, it's a turn of phrase. All right, I wasn't calling her a hoe. Okay. Good start to this show. Good start to the show. I inadvertently insulted Montrell's wife. Great. So no, Deanna's great. She's a wonderful person. She's perfect.
We're trying to clean it up now. You're already canceled. You're already canceled.
It's over. The show's over, guys. 314 episodes. This is what did it. Man.
Yeah, we just went out to dinner. I mean, because we've been missing each other a lot.
Yeah.
Over the past week and stuff like that, because she's been doing stuff and then I've been doing stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah. And then this weekend we're doing some more stuff with each other this weekend. Unfortunately, that's the only time we have with each other. Unfortunately, is the weekends because we're so busy.
Yeah. Okay.
I
understand. You realistically, like, not to talk shit, but you didn't miss a whole lot. The chapter, you missed the fight. So do you remember where we were?
Only thing I remember is after we beat the Scar Tribe people.
Yeah, we all had this, me, you, and Tyler. We forgot multiple things about the session before this past one. So Jet wasn't there. Totally forgot about that. Like, completely fucking forgot Jet wasn't there.
Oh, shit, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was sick, remember? Yeah, so this was New Year's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was sick. So we all fucking totally mentally blocked that out for some reason. So Jet wasn't there. And yeah, we started by fighting the Scar Tribe. And for some reason, we forgot everything that happened after that, because there was a whole narrative chapter we did after that led up to, remember, like, the plague was breaking out in the city and shit,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of fucked up shit was happening. Yeah, and we were fighting that witch at the end that was, like, controlling an Oathsworn company or whatever.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah. So that was where we started, was the fight. And it was a cool fight. It was fun. It was a good fight. And we beat it pretty handily, though, I will say. The loot off that fight was complete and utter ass, though. It was terrible. None of the unique items were any good out of that one. So, but we did beat it. And then we did the next chapter's narrative. So chapter 14's narrative. And yeah, you didn't miss a whole lot with this one. This one kind of missed for us, I would say. Like we were, it's like it feels like a filler chapter where they're just like padding the runtime of the game. Because basically we got to where we were told to go to a place called Thrace, and we had to go through the Deepwood to do that. So it was one of those Deepwood journey chapters or whatever.
Yeah.
And but the way it worked was you found this weird village that was like untainted by the Deepwood, so it had this like beautiful, like, green field, green grass. It didn't look like the rest of the Deepwood or whatever, and it was like this weird mysterious place. So the whole chapter was basically us running around trying to find clues to understand what was going on with this village, essentially. And while in and of itself I don't think it was necessarily bad, per se. Like the concept of it is cool. I just don't think, like, given where we are in the overarching narrative of the game, though, this felt like filler. Like they needed, for whatever reason, they decided they needed an extra chapter to tell this random story about this random village, that was being influenced by a monster for some reason. And like so that's where we are. We got to the fight basically in that chapter, so it's kind of where we are right
Okay.
now. So you didn't like miss, like a breakneck session where we did like 2 whole chapters or anything like that. Um so yeah, but I am thinking about doing another day though, maybe next weekend, a week from Saturday possibly. So um don't know if
Yeah,
you'll be available.
I can do that. I'll put it in my calendar.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. So, we're on chapter 14, end of chapter 14. If we finish this fight, we'll go to 15, and then hopefully we'll be able to finish the whole chapter, maybe. It's kind of my hope. So then we'll be in 16, and we'll really be getting close to the end at that point. So I'm getting kind of excited, that we're grinding through it, man. We're finally making progress on Oathsworn. So it's good. But okay. Marshall, how's the rest of your life going though? Work, outside of work, everything good?
Yeah, I can't complain
Feeling
right now.
fulfilled? I mean, video games are good right now. We're eating good, man. I feel like.
Yeah, no, I can't complain about the games coming out. I mean, I know one of our games just came out today, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to play that once we get done and stuff like that.
Where'd you get it? Where'd you pick it up?
GameStop.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't see it available on Amazon, so
yeah, it was weird. It wasn't available on Amazon. So I just went to GameStop and picked it up.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm not sure I'm gonna buy it right now because I am like steeped in multiple other games.
Yeah, obviously.
So, yeah, and yeah, we'll get into all that in a sec, but yeah, I'm like, I don't want to buy the game and sit on it. So I'm not like, I've been teasing the idea of like waiting until the Switch 2 comes out, which is a realistic thought in my head, but I'm not sure I'm actually gonna do that. But we'll see, because playing the game in 60 FPS sounds fucking dope, actually. Because have we ever gotten a Xenoblade game with a 60 FPS mode? I don't think so, right? They're all 30.
It's funny, I did play this game in 60 FPS on the emulator on my computer. So
Yep, that's true. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it could be one of those things that I don't think about buying the game for like 3 weeks, and then Nintendo does their announcement of the Switch 2 in April, and it's like, oh, it's coming out June 1st, or something, and then it's like, well, I only have to wait like 7 more weeks. I might as well, so
yeah.
So we'll see. So all right, well, fair enough. All right, let's get into the show proper. You guys are here to listen to us talk about video games, not board games. So let's talk about it. This is Player's Take, episode 314. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined as always by my co-host, Montrell Rice. For those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Player's Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Marshall, let's get into what we've been playing. I'll go first, I guess. My games are weird. I kind of need to take 2 of these off. I don't actually even 3. I'm not really playing 3 of these, even though they're listed.
Really? You're not playing Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Well, so let me start with Wuthering Waves. I've been playing this more this week. I'm trying to grind through the exploration of the 2.0 regions, 2.0 and 2.1 regions, in order to get all the rewards that I can. Because I think I said this a week or 2 ago. 2.2 is going to have 3 characters, and I want all 3 of them, which in a gacha game is very hard to do without spending money. I have been saving up since 2.0 came out, though, and I currently am sitting on 36,500 astrite, which is the currency for the game, the polling currency, and I have 23 polls that aren't in currency form right now. So that equates to 36,500 is roughly 200 and like 30 polls, close to 230 polls, plus the 23 I have. So we're talking about 250 to 255 polls. So I'm trying to grab as many polls as I can out of the game from the free to play standpoint right now, to get ready for these banners coming out, because I want all three characters and I want one of their weapons. So that's going to be very difficult to pull off. I am going to have to win 350/50s in a row to get all three characters, which, flipping a coin 3 times in a row, it's not impossible, but the likelihood of getting the same facing every single time 3 times in a row is it's fairly unlikely. So so I'm saving up a lot of currency there right now, trying to get ready for that. So I've been playing Weather Maze a little bit more as a result, and I'm actually making a lot of progress. I was playing today on my lunch, and I have 3 of the regions maxed like 100%. I am close to a fourth, getting 100% on a fourth, and there's only 7 areas total in the 2.0 section, and 2.1 added 2 more. So I need to finish like 5 more little areas, basically, essentially, and then I've done most of the quests also available to me. So once I do that, I'll actually be like caught up on content with this game, which is weird to say, but it'll be true, fairly true. So, which is kind of cool, because what I want to do is actually get caught up on content, so I can just play the patches as they come out, and then that's it. Like I don't have to keep grinding the game after that. I can just play it every 6 to 12 weeks. And kind of put some time into it like that. So, so yeah, been playing that. Still enjoying it. World of Warcraft. I did play this on Sunday actually, for a bit. I did some grinding. I was grinding elemental airs, or no, essence of airs. Sorry. Essence of airs in order to max my jewel crafting skill, which I did. I completed that on Sunday, so I'm at 300 enchanting, 300 jewel crafting, which was a pain in the ass to do, but I did it. And then I think I ran Onyxia as well once and didn't get shit out of it. So that was good. But otherwise, haven't really played a ton of World of Warcraft this past week. Monster Hunter, I actually don't think I've played this since we last recorded. I'm pretty sure I have not actually logged into the game. So I don't know about you. Like, have you? Did you play over the weekend?
Yeah, I did. I think only time I stopped playing is when we started playing PUBG,
which was Sunday.
So I haven't played it since Sunday.
Okay.
Actually, I did play it. I played it for like 2 or 3 hours on Monday. I kind of just been logging in and like doing my dailies and then getting the fuck out or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot to do at this point. Like, it's kind of just grinding gems and whatever gear you decide you want to craft.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm probably gonna put the game down for now until the first title update comes out, and then I'll probably jump back in and grind it a bit more. Because they're gonna add like arch-tempered monsters and stuff. I just feel like the game as it stands right now, there's just nothing challenging to do. Like, you're building gear towards no purpose, really. Like, I can already beat everything in the game, with what I have. So I'm just kind of like, whatever, So yeah, I'm like kind of waiting for that like big challenge to come into the game. Yeah, Kingdom Come. So I think I did play this on Thursday or Friday last week. I haven't played it since because we've been playing PUBG like crazy since Sunday. But I did. So if I mentioned any of this last week, let me know, because then I might have misremembered when I actually played Kingdom Come last. But I think where I was like I went out on a hunt. Like, in the story, I went out on a hunt with a nobleman, and because he was being a dick to me, and the main character like got into a fight with him. Henry gets into a fight with him, and the lord of the town you're in shows up, because he's like the ward for, or the nobleman you fought is like the ward for him. And he shows up trying to find the nobleman, and he finds you guys fighting, and he screams at both of you, and he makes Henry go on a hunt with this nobleman whose name is Hans, I think, is his name. So I did the hunt though. I went out for a hunt with him, and dude, this was really funny. So this game is really, I will say, I like, we'll have this probably in a greater conversation on a later part of the show when we talk about Circana numbers and stuff. But I can really see why Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is so successful so far, because this first game, while it wasn't that successful from like, initially, it eventually became kind of this cult hit over time. But this is a very old school RPG, but it's also a really unique game in a lot of ways. And I just think there's something like, this is something new to people. The way this game is designed and the way it presents itself and the story it's trying to tell and like the setting it's in and things like that. Like, these are very unique aspects to this game that I just think is really interesting. So you go on this hunt, and Hans, you and Hans are kind of like, Hans and Henry are kind of like bickering with each other along the way. Hans keeps taking pot shots at Henry, and Henry's just like, he kind of takes it sometimes, but then there's some times where he talks back a little bit. So he talks back, and Hans gets pissed, and he's like, because he keeps giving Hans like tips on how to hunt, like, because he's done some hunting before in his previous life as a peasant. And Hans is like, okay, if you're so fucking good at hunting, let's have a contest or whatever. Let's see who can bag the most game, in a few hours. So he leaves, and he takes like his 2 dogs with him, and he lets you take like a bow and some hunting arrows out of like a trunk he has set up in the camp or whatever. So you grab that stuff, and yeah, dude, you literally are just supposed to just go out and hunt. Like, that's the objective for this part of the story, is you just go out and you try to hunt, animals. Like, it's and the game doesn't really give you any direction whatsoever. The only thing it tells you is, do not follow Hans. Like, Hans yells at you. He's like, do not follow me. I have my own path. You'll be cheating if you do that, or whatever. So you can't follow him. That's like the idea of this part. You're supposed to just go off on your own and do your own thing. So yeah. I grabbed the hunting arrows, and I'm like, dude, I'm literally sitting there trying to shoot rabbits, and this is a game where you suck at everything at the beginning of the game. Like, you're not good at any skill pretty much. For the most part, you have to like, grind it and level it up in a very, like, from what I understand, like Skyrim type way, where the more you use the skill, the more you level it up. Right. So, Henry's shot a bow a few times over the course of the game. So he's like level 3 or 4, in bows, but he's not very good. So it's like trying to shoot these rabbits is a fucking pain in the ass. You have to, like, the way I had to do it was get as close as humanly possible to them, and then just like aim it and take your shot, and I ended up getting 4, I think, with about, I think I had 60 arrows is what the game gives you or something like that.
Oh my God.
So yeah, no, I'm not fucking with you, dude. So yeah, and I'm sitting here, dude, this is like 30 minutes. I'm sitting there trying to, hunt rabbits. And it's like, I got really into it though. I got pissed when the first one took me like 20 arrows to hit, dude. And I was so fucking mad. I'm like, I kept trying to do it. I wanted to keep doing it, So I got like really into it. And I ended up beating Hans. Like, I think he catches like 1 maybe or something like that. So I ended up beating him in the hunting competition or whatever. But it's just like things like that, I think, are why the game is appealing though, because yeah, it sounds cumbersome. It sounds stupid. Like, you're going hunting. Like, it's an RPG, it's like a fucking Western RPG. But it's like, games don't make you do these kind of things though. This game is very like practical in the way it approaches the moments that you experience as Henry. Like, you are experiencing his life as he experiences it, in a lot of ways. So I really like that aspect to the game. The game hasn't hooked me quite yet where I'm like obsessive with it. I'm still not at that point right now, but but it's not from lack of interest. Like, I'm very intrigued about this game. I'm excited to keep playing it, so it's like I'm just kind of working my way through it slowly. But it's kind of because it's cool. So you finish the hair part, and then you get into a cutscene where they're trying to catch a boar, and the boar gets away, and Hans like chases it on a horse, and you have to go find him, dude. And he gets captured by two of the human enemies, like the mercenaries that raided the Henry's town at the beginning of the game, and you have to rescue Henry, or so you have to rescue Hans rather as Henry. And the game doesn't really give you any information. They just present you with these two enemies. They're in the camp. Hans is tied up. He's screaming and yelling his head off. And the two guys are sitting in the camp eating fucking drumsticks, basically. And you have to approach it and beat them and like kill them both and free them. However you want to do that is up to you. You can show up and try to shoot them both with an arrow. You can show up and try to stealth kill them. You can fight them both straight up at the same time, which I would not recommend, but you could try it, so it's very freeform in the terms of the gameplay and how you want to tackle problems in this game. And I love that. It's very like Deus Ex, obviously completely different setting, but it's very Deus Ex in its design like that, where the game gives you an objective and you can solve it 10 different ways. You can figure out how to complete that objective in many different ways. So I love games like this. They're very replayable as a result. And I think I see why people have gotten so into this, because I'm assuming in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 it's very similar but much more refined as a game, than the first game is. So I kind of understand the success with the second game now playing the first one. And I think there's a lot of what I'm saying is a big reason why people are kind of grabbing onto it. It's kind of it's not, these games are rare. They're hard to make. They're hard to make well, and they're not often worth the effort from a financial standpoint. Like they don't usually sell that super well either. Deus Ex being a great example of that. So all the success to Warhorse, like I'm super happy for them, dude. I love the fact that a game like this is finding success in the way it is. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it to people if you're kind of into immersive RPGs, or even like survival games. Actually, this game definitely has a lot of those elements in it. There's definitely a lot of survival aspects to this game, because you have to eat, you need to drink water, you need to sleep. Like you can't just run around endlessly. Like your character will get tired. And if that happens in the middle of combat, you're fucking dead, so it's an unforgiving game in some ways too, but it's very, very cool. It just, I think the biggest issue with the game is that it has a very long-winded, what I would almost call a tutorial, where the game doesn't allow you to run around freely for a long time. And I'm still sort of in there right now. It's like I can run around freely if I want, but it's probably not a good idea quite yet. It's like in that zone. So that's kind of the biggest issue with the game, is just kind of the pacing at the beginning. But I don't think it's a huge problem, because there's just so much to learn in terms of the way the game plays. So yeah, I mean, I think it's super fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. So Montrell, have you played anything other than Monster Hunter?
PUBG.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to say about Monster Hunter, I guess, before moving on to PUBG?
No, not really. I just wish I had a little bit more content, but
Yeah.
I already put 100 hours into it, so I don't
Yeah.
know if I can really complain about that.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's like Rise was,
Yeah,
I just think the hunts are a lot shorter than they've ever been, So you end up grinding through the game super fast,
yeah, I agree. And I think that's what happened. I don't know. I feel like in some ways I do feel like the game was incomplete, and hopefully, they can put more monsters in sooner.
Mhm.
I know they have a big update coming in next month, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting. Hopefully, they stealth put in some more monsters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That update as well.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, PUBG. So this was really random. We were playing at Oathsworn on Saturday, and we finished around 11 is when we got to the battle. And I decided I didn't want to sit there till like 3 a.m., doing the combat. So I called the session, like done for the night. But we ended up sitting there talking for like 2 hours or whatever. and then me and Jet were talking about. I don't remember how we even started talking about PUBG, but Tyler was like, "Oh yeah, I'd play that game if you guys played it or whatever." And I was kind of like, you know, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Why not? So I downloaded it Saturday, I guess Sunday morning, technically. I downloaded it and we started playing it on Sunday, and we have literally played this game every single day since Sunday. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And Tyler's joined us for 2 sessions, and I think me, you, and Jet were playing for the other 2 sessions, pretty much. So, yeah, we've put a lot of time into this. You know, we've played, I think, up to close to 30 matches or something already between all those nights. We haven't played like the entire night yet, like where we get on like right at 7 or something like that, like 7. We've been kind of starting kind of late, like 9 or 10 p.m. So we haven't been playing like super long sessions yet, but we have played consistently every day. So I'm like, man, I don't, it's kind of weird to come back to this game after so long, because the last time we played PUBG was, I believe, I want to say early 2020 was the last time at least I really was playing it actively. I know there was like a weird there was like a really brief moment where we all downloaded the game and tried it again for like 2 days or whatever at some point in between there, and I wasn't into it. And then for whatever reason you guys stopped playing it too. But yeah, so coming back to this game after so long, literally like 5 years basically. Um PUBG's transformed a lot, actually. Like, I am actually legitimately impressed with the state of the game in a lot of ways. Obviously, the funny part is, though, as much as some things change, a lot of things stay the same. Some of the same bugs that me and Jet used to get, we are still getting now. The one in particular where like you jump out of the plane and your character is stuck W keying straight down, and you cannot change their trajectory at all. It's like it's just broken. That's happened to both of us like multiple times. So I did have a hard crash yesterday as well. So it's not like the game is in perfect shape or anything like that, but I will say it looks more crisp. I think the game like looks better than it's ever looked in terms of at least my experience with it. There's tons of guns, there's tons of maps. There's actually a ton of cosmetics in the game now, and they're actually kind of decent. Maybe they're not actually that bad. when
Yeah.
when cosmetics initially came out in PUBG, they were ass cheeks, like they were horrible. So they actually have improved that a lot. The reward mechanisms for players are significantly improved too. Like Jet is so into this fucking battle pass challenges and shit right now. So they got something cooking there for sure. And so I don't know. I'm not talking about the actual game, I guess, yet, just like kind of the things around it. But how are you feeling about PUBG after coming back to it after so long?
No, I agree with you. I feel like it feels really good. I actually like the slow tactile gameplay. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
miss that
Mm-hmm.
coming like the last, BR that we were playing or first person shooter that we were playing was Apex, and that was like the opposite of this game, complete opposite of this game actually. Um, Everything was really fast paced and everything of that nature. So I do like that. I also like that we can play in 3 or 4 squads and still not feel at a disadvantage. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. Yeah, that hasn't felt like a significant disadvantage really at all. Actually,
yeah. Because it more so matters about your positioning and how well you can shoot people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
uh, I just really appreciate that. Um, but yeah, the game is more responsive. I mean, we did have some packet. I don't want to say packet loss, but it was some decent issues. I ran into decent
yeah.
issues
True,
yesterday.
true.
Um,
Yeah,
but for the most part, yeah, I mean, it's been frustrating, but like a good frustrating experience. I don't know. And also, I think I would say towards the end of our PUBG career, the first time in 2020, we were really moving towards getting away from dropping away from everybody and then dropping in like hot locations and stuff like that. Um, Obviously, like when Carrion came out, we loved that map because we were forced to actually fight people a lot and we started
yeah,
getting a lot better.
yeah,
So I think coming back to this, we're doing that as well. We're um not dropping as far away from everybody. If anything, we want to drop at least next to 1 or 2 teams.
Yeah, right.
We only had like one frustrating game where we couldn't get any weapons. That's another thing. I do like the weapon drop now. Almost every place has loot. Whereas old PUBG, uh, you can literally sometimes go through an entire little cul-de-sac and there would be no weapons in there.
Oh
It was
yeah,
actually,
like
it was
literally 5 buildings or something, you know. And
yeah.
yeah,
um,
it is annoying.
so yeah, I mean, it looks like they took a lot of feedback from the last 4 to 5 years of people and they upgrade the game. And I think it's in a good state right now. I wouldn't be surprised if this is if this is going to be like a resurgence of PUBG, in my opinion,
Well,
this year.
it's already resurged. You know, like the game's more popular than it's almost ever been. Like their peak money's made was very recent, like the last like quarter, I think.
Oh
Um,
shit! Okay.
like money's made in a month, you know, type data. So I mean, I think the game was declining when we left in 2020. I think they hadn't done a very good job of adding features that players actually cared about, and I think the game just still had a lot of fundamental issues that they hadn't solved, you know, and I think people were just sick of it. And I guess over the last 5 years or so, that has changed. You know, they've gotten back to building the fundamentals of the game, and they've added a shitload of maps, which that's almost a problem at this point. I think there's like 10 maps, dude, and like there's 5 in the rotation at any given time. So if you like a particular map in PUBG, good fucking luck playing it, dude. You know?
Well, not even that, bro. I'm just tired of playing on Erangel and Miramar, bro.
Well,
Those
that's
like
because of the
50%.
anniversary thing, though. Right now, um,
Okay.
I think they're going to be out of the rotation when they get out of that event. You know, so which is soon actually. I think it's within the next week. So
Well, I don't mind Erangel, but I absolutely hate Miramar. I think that's a terrible map.
I don't hate Miramar. I dislike Miramar when we get in these situations where the circle's on the other side of the map from us, even when we drop like somewhat middle-ish, you know.
Yeah.
And like, dude, you spend the whole game just driving, you know, or trying to traverse the map into the circle, and then you get in, and then there's a team fucking camping where you came in and you're dead. It's like that's the kind of PUBG that I can't stand, and that might be an us issue more than the game, you know. Where to your point, where if you drop outside all the time, you're putting yourself in a position where you have to drive in, you know.
Well,
So it's like,
but
yeah.
to your point though, in our defense, when we went to Miramar, there was one time we dropped like almost dead center, and then the circle was way in the top left hand corner of the map, and I'm
Yep.
like,
Yep.
bro, what the fuck is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's the gunplay feels good, dude, man. My sniper hands feel really good right now with the Car 98 and the Mosin. Like man, I'm hitting more headshots than I ever remember hitting in PUBG. So I don't know. I just think it's weird. It's like I haven't played the game in a long time, and it's probably because we haven't been like our MMR decayed or whatever, and it's like trying to figure out what our skill bracket is. But I feel like I'm better than I remember being, you know, back in the day. Um, like I don't remember, like I don't even think we had positive KDAs back in the day, like above
We
1.0,
It's because we
you
didn't
know.
fight, man. We never
Yeah,
fought,
I know, you're right. So
and I think we're not afraid to fight anymore. Honestly, I think Apex upped our skill a lot to where we just weren't
probably,
afraid to fight
probably,
anymore. You know.
I'm a little more reluctant than you guys in terms of short range. I still don't feel like I'm very good at short range right now, but my mid range, long range, dude, I'm peeking trees. I'm fucking peeking like hills and shit. Like I'm ready to fire at people. Like I feel so comfy at long range right now. With the car and Mosin with like a 4x or even a 6x. Um, man, I'm like hitting people from like crazy distances. Like we were looking at our stats last night, and I have like a 575-meter kill or whatever with a sniper. And I'm like, yeah, man, let's go. You know, like we're doing it, bro. So I'm enjoying the sniper play because yeah, coming from Apex, bro, you don't even have sniper play in Apex. You know, like they're not viable weapons. So you know, they're like it's like a meme. You know, I'm like playing a meme weapon when I'm running those in Apex for the most part. So, um, So I don't know. It's a nice change of pace. And I'm enjoying it. I guess I don't know how long we'll stick with it, but I'm down to keep playing it right now. So
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, yeah, you guys are right. I was thinking about it. Like, I haven't really played an FPS. We haven't really played an FPS in a while, which was actually a good break because we were playing FPS for at least what 4 to 5 years straight, and then we
yeah,
just stopped.
yeah,
Um,
no, for sure.
but yeah, like I think that's fun. I think the game's fun. Um, I think it is noob friendly because I mean Tyler really hasn't played. I know he
Yeah,
doesn't really like playing PC games, but I think it was yesterday he was popping off like he was going
yeah,
crazy. He got like 4 or 5 kills in one game. So
well, I think having a squad to run with certainly helps.
yeah,
And like we're fairly experienced, so we're probably giving him some space to actually be able to like play and learn and stuff. So which is good. But I mean, plus, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like a shooter guy too, so
yeah.
he's pretty seasoned, I think. So I think aiming is not really an issue for him. It's really the rest of the game that he needs to learn. Um, so so yeah, but no, it's been fun playing with him too because he's never played anything with us really. So um, so that's cool. But I do want to play some League at some point though. I don't want to like leave League behind, you know. I do like part of me misses it a little bit. Like I'm like I don't know. So we got to figure out how to like mix that in every once in a while. But yeah, no, PUBG's been fun. It's kind of a breath of fresh air from the multiplayer perspective, which is funny because we've played it before. But it is true. Like I am enjoying myself a good amount. So that's fun. Anything else on PUBG right now?
Nope, that's it.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the news. We don't have a lot of stories this week, but we got a couple. So the first one, this one's kind of weird, is yeah. So the Helldivers 2, Arrowhead's CEO, his name is Johan Pilestead. Um, he said that he was talking at GDC, and he mentioned that um they were approached rather by the UN to talk about Helldivers 2 and talk about psychological manipulation. Um and yeah, so that's kind of the basis for this. I don't know, Montreal, you kind of have a little bit more familiarity with what he was talking about here if you want to get into it.
Well, yeah, they were just. I think it was more so the UN approached him, to talk about the psychological effects of a okay,
Totalitarian.
totalitarian regime. I don't know why I can't say that. It's like a tongue twister word.
It's a hard word to say.
Totalitarian regime, and yeah, he just gave him like some pointers, and I guess he joked as well about how the aesthetics of these regimes are usually very pleasing, right? So like for instance, I'm not endorsing like Nazi stuff, okay? I'm just
Yeah.
saying their outfits that they wore, the SS outfits, were made
Yeah.
by Hugo Boss,
Oh yeah.
and they, I, hey, they were stylish looking,
Yeah,
like.
dude. I mean, like, there's like, okay, let's be real and mature, guys. Like, it's okay to say that their uniforms looked good. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
they did.
we
They did.
understand. We understand how horrible Nazis were. Okay, we're not endorsing them. You know, it's just we're just talking about the aesthetics of their outfits and that stuff. So, um,
And yeah, so he I guess he was kind of asked themselves, or this is what he said, quote, "We asked ourselves, could we brainwash an entire community to fight for a fascist state? Would they? And would they be okay with that?" And it turns out, yeah, actually, like, yeah, actually.
mhm,
So, and that talks about like Helldivers, because there's a lot of talk when Helldivers 2 came out, where like the bugs that you were fighting and everything like that were actually planted at the seated at those planets, because we don't know how the bugs get from planet to planet, and
yeah,
they're seated by the super Earth government because those bugs produced some kind of oil like substance that we use for fuel. So once we kill them, then we can mine that oil. But the problem is they also put those on planets where colonies are at the bugs like attack, and give the Helldivers excuse to go attack that or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
And then it's another thing where the bots that you fight are actually not trying to fight you at all. They're just really threatened by the Super Earth government, and they told the Super Earth government, like, we surrender, we don't want to fight you guys at all anymore, multiple times, but you guys keep trying to fight us, and that's why we fight. So uh it's a thing like, are we the baddies type situation or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like a really interesting conversation. They're not saying like anything, but the UN just really wanted to study, or I guess really wanted to know, or just ask some questions about like, could this affect the way people see fascist regimes and stuff of that nature. And I think that's an interesting question. Are
Well,
they even picking up the point of
yeah.
the satire in the thing, or are they really appreciating it? Because I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of people aren't picking up the satire. They're just like, yeah, like America, fuck yeah, and stuff like that. Where it's just like, yeah, this has like the themes of like, it has the themes of like, of a American anthem, right? When you hear the anthem, if you ever heard the anthem or whatever, it sounds like something that would, that would be like, American thing or whatever. And then like, all the flag raising and stuff like that nature, but it's also following the playbook of like a fascist regime, like the Nazis that use propaganda, or not even the Nazis. Like you can say like how Russia used propaganda and everything like that. And even America used like, bash the commie or whatever, type situation. So I think it's a really interesting conversation to have. And yeah, like uh, the aesthetics of it is the armor is really cool. They wearing capes. Like the last time people wore capes was like in World War I, and you literally did see like, I think, officers and people wearing capes on the battlefield and stuff like that. And that was like aesthetically pleasing. Like it wasn't even for tactical reasons. It was because like the generals at the time in World War I were like, yeah, this looks really fucking cool. Wear that out in the battlefield or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was until World War II where we start actually getting really tactical as far as why we wear what we wear on the battlefield and stuff of that nature. Mm-hmm. That's when tactics really started to change. And then it super evolved in Vietnam to where people were wearing camouflage because they learned that from the actual Vietnam and Korean soldiers of the Korean War as well. They started using camouflage and stuff of that nature. But yeah, anyway, I think it's an interesting conversation, not just to deal with Helldivers, but like satire in video games in general. And have you seen Space Starship Troopers before?
No, but I mean,
okay.
I know what it is.
Okay, so yeah, Starship Troopers is pretty much what inspired Helldivers in general, and it has like it's a book as well. The book was written by someone who was like, what if the military just ruled everything and they ran the governments and everything of that nature or whatever? And like it was more so of a praise of military might, and like they had democracy. I'm putting up air quotes, but it was you only became a citizen if you served. If you didn't serve, you didn't become a citizen, or you couldn't vote or whatever. But you were a citizen, but you weren't or something like that. I can't remember. You're a resident, but you weren't a citizen. There you go. So you couldn't vote and stuff like that. So anyway, and you're fighting giant bugs and everything like that, and all of the stuff of that nature. A lot of propaganda in it, a lot of like glorifying war and everything like that, and everything of that nature. And the movie satirizes the book, because the book was actually, by the author, was meant to be taken very seriously. Like this is what the author thought. It was like, yo, this is what I think it is. The movie satirized that, and they're like, because the guy who made the movie, he I think he actually survived the Holocaust or something of that nature. Either him or his family did. So the guy who made the movie, he was like, I'm about to satirize this because this is nothing but propaganda, and this is what, even though the guy who wrote the book was American, he was talking about like American military might and everything of that nature, and how they should be only ones to vote or and everything of that nature after you serve your country. It had nothing to do with Nazis, but the dude was like, "This is what Nazis use in their propaganda or whatever." Anyway, long story short, fast forward to today, or not today, but like last year when Helldivers came out, there was a resurgence for Starship Troopers, and
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
this younger generation, watched the movie and they loved it, and they were like, "Oh my god, this is like a really cool movie," and everything like that nature. But it was for all the wrong reasons. And they were more. It was more so like, yeah, we should be like that. And it's like, wait, you guys didn't get the satirical nature of the whole thing. It was being popularized online and everything of that nature. So people were getting like kind of scared. They're like, wait, guys, this is meant to be satire. So I think that brings up a good conversation. Is satire in video games, or not even video games, in media in general, or is it dead? Like, do we not understand it? And there's also a flip side to that, right? To where like Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, when they make certain jokes and things of that nature, even South Park, when they tease both sides of the spectrum, they satirize like both sides of the extreme left and the extreme right, or whatever the case may be. Like, people don't get it, and it actually goes over people's heads, and they get offended by it. And it's like, it's actually supposed to be satire. You're supposed to like laugh at it and then understand it and then reflect back on yourself or whatever. But anyway, like, how do you feel about that, or do you feel like satire is just uh a byproduct of media literacy dying in general?
Yeah. So to answer like I do want to like mention like so you mentioned movies and TV and stuff. I think games are different when you're trying to do satire in a game versus
Mhm.
a movie or television show, because those are passive activities where you're just watching something, whereas games are active. So in Helldiver's case, like, yeah, it's satire, but you are playing the character in the satire.
Yeah.
You are the soldier fighting the war, and it's like, so there is an active element to your participation in the satire, and your like self-awareness of that. Obviously, I'm sure different people have different levels of that self-awareness. And I think this is kind of a weird conversation, because I do think there are definitely people who don't get it. There are definitely people out there who aren't going to get it with these kind of things, and maybe Helldivers 2 is a perfect example, right? But I'm sure, I actually think largely though most people are smart enough to understand, like, it separates satire from non-satire.
Mhm.
Um, but it's but at the same time, at the same time, I will say, like, in this current world though, it has continued to surprise me how many people out there kind of support. I don't want this to get like political, capital
It it
P political, but like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, you know, there's certain viewpoints out there that people genuinely support that I think most of us can agree. And like, look, I'm not saying you're
You don't have to bring any examples, but I I
right.
I
I'm not bringing
understand.
an example. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm not like, I don't know. I'm get myself tongue twisted here. I'm not trying to
Okay.
allude to the idea that right wingers are bad, because people say
I
the things I'm saying with that kind of
how about
implication.
yeah,
So
how
I
about
just want
this?
to
How
be
about
clear
this,
about
Justin?
that. I want to be
Eh,
clear about that. I am
I
not
I
a
I try
you know
I try to show you some grace. How
yes
about, like, for instance, the Empire in Star Wars is clearly bad, but
yeah
people were like,
right
yeah,
yes yeah
yeah,
where they unironically support something like that. Yeah, sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's a fair example, right? Or like, Nazis or something, right? Like, we
yeah,
all agree that Nazi Germany was bad,
yeah.
but there are people out there who don't feel that way, and it's actually surprising how common that can be sometimes. Maybe not in that specific example, but things that are maybe less egregious of a viewpoint, but still egregious. It's like you're still over that line. So it's like, so given that, it's like this kind of thing is, I think you could argue that it's dangerous, right? If people take it at face value and they kind of support it like straight on, or take it into themselves as something they might actually like unironically support. You could say that that's dangerous, but I don't think it's up to us to really make those determinations, especially with art. I think it's more important to kind of make something and let people dissect it themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And that's more where I stand on this. I would never want to see I would never want to see a company like Arrowhead feel like they need to censor themselves or change what they want to do with Helldivers 2 because they're afraid that people are going to take it seriously. You know, like
Well,
that isn't a reality I want to live in. You know, it's like,
yeah. And that's the interesting thing about this article. So when you read the article, and a lot of people were like tweeting about it, if you read the article all the way through, which is why I intentionally left part of the article out because I wanted to like just talk about it, and I'm even sure listeners would think about it too. Like UN is attacking Arrowhead. But the thing is, the UN went to them because they realized how good the
yeah,
satirical nature of Helldivers 2 was, to where I log in and I listen to what my command gives me, what Super Earth commands give me, and we as a community, 100,000 players, 2,000, 200,000 players, we all go for the goal to get that. I'm donating resources that I got myself
yeah,
by myself or whatever, and I'm donating to the cause, even though it's only participating, it's only like giving 0.00% in the graph. But man, if I see that thing go up 1%, I'm like, yeah, we did it for the day, boys. We did it. And it's all
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
because of like the satire or whatever. So they're actually trying to ask them, like, you guys made this, so in your opinion, how do you defend against it? And I think that's a really cool way of like asking somebody that, or like how to defend against, you know if propaganda does pop up, how can we defend against it? Because you guys did such a good job at making it. What, in your opinion, how would you flip that on its head and defend against it? So
yeah,
that's what the article is actually about, and that's what he really wanted to reiterate, was like they were asking us just how can we psychologically defend against this, against populations of people, like propaganda and everything like that. And I think that's really that's a really cool thing. I think the problem is in general, like because there was like some of these young YouTubers, right? They they're doing like cinema sins style videos on certain anime and video games and stuff of that nature.
yeah.
And uh they're talking about the dumb motivations of villains and everything of that nature. It was one video that was talking about that. He was just kind of like ratting on, or he's kind of going crazy on like a lot of anime villains and their motivations and stuff of that nature. And it's like someone said, like, they're like, man, Cinema Sins was a mistake. And I agree with that. I think like Cinema Sins was meant to be a satire. Like, it wasn't meant to be like, I think it started out as a real thing, but then it just became a joke, a running joke,
Yeah,
even with the
yeah,
Cinema Sins people themselves. But the problem is, like, we know that because we grew up with that, right? So we understand like that whole type of humor. But I think a lot of the younger generation, and I'm talking about like, bro, like not even that young, like maybe 25, 26, those adults don't understand that. And even younger than that, they don't understand that type of like that type of humor and stuff of that nature. And I think
well,
also
yeah,
compared to us, we're not, I think millennials, and I'm not saying this because I am a millennial, but I genuinely think millennials and early, uh, like first generation Gen Z people are kind of immune to the algorithm because we grew up with the technology, so we know what's going on. But if you were like young when like the algorithm first started taking off, you don't know how to not read that stuff, which is why I think we got like a lot of like I said, not to get political and stuff like that, but like there are a lot of like dating issues between genders and everything of that nature because there's propaganda on both sides saying you should hate one another or why they don't
yeah,
like you or whatever the case may
yeah.
be. But that just ties all back into like the video games and everything of that nature. And we already talked about Gamergate, how we lived through that, but it's just like we're seeing the downfall of, not the downfall, but the after effects of that entire conversation, because we thought it was over, me and you did, and we see it every day, like online or whatever the case may be. And I think it's the same way for satirical stuff. I don't think people know how to read. Like, for example, the Punisher. Um, I feel like he's satirical in the way that, yeah, we want to feel like we can just go out and kill people or kill the bad people or whatever, right? Like, because he shows no mercy to the villains, to like the murderers, the rapists, and all the other stuff like that. He shows no mercy in the comics to these people. He kills them. He even kills like crooked cops and stuff of that nature, right?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, you see people. So he's not he. If you read the comics, he himself would not call himself a good person, right?
No.
He's just like, I do what I want to do. He even kills superheroes in the comics. So it's just weird when I see a cop with a Punisher logo on their badge or their gun, and I'm like, that's not what the Punisher represents. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird to me, and that's where I'm like, where, like, did media literacy just really fucking die? Like, just run off a cliff and die? Like, I don't know. I ain't mean to cut you off. I knew you were about to say something, but yeah.
Well, when you were mentioning CinemaSins and like people not understanding it, I don't watch CinemaSins. I haven't in a long time. But like, what do they do when they realize that the majority of their audience isn't even understanding their content? Do they lean into that misunderstanding to continue to generate views, or do they continue doing what they're doing, running the risk of people not jiving with it because they're not really understanding it or something like that? It's like
that's
that
a good question. I don't know.
becomes, well, this is the issue though, is money runs these things, right? Online, on YouTube, social media, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. So maybe CinemaSins, it singularly decides not to like chase the money per se, but other people might like change their content in order to appeal to these groups in a way, even if they don't feel like the way people think they feel,
Yeah.
And I think that's happening for sure in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, seriously, like I think about kind of funny with this, is dude, their transformation from their early years into what they are now is fucking crazy. They became like, I'm sorry, I know DJ, I know you still watch them and stuff, but bro, they became kind of the epitome of what I think is wrong with games media, where they are like a left-wing, extreme left-wing, outlet, and they literally hate on people who are right-wingers, like on their content, like they say, you voted for Trump, we don't want you here, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally say shit like that on camera, tweet it, like, and it's like that kind of behavior is like part of the issue. And it fosters this environment we're talking about, where people, like, I feel like people don't have the like, not even literacy, like the critical analysis skills to have the nuance to like have a discussion with people they disagree with. It doesn't matter whether it's politically or not, because this is true outside of politics too, where I feel like people have lost the ability to talk to each other when they disagree. Like it just doesn't feel like people are very good at this anymore. And part of that, a lot of that has to do with media literacy, I think. Like like they don't understand the things they're consuming at a fundamental level. And then you go out there and you're kind of talking about these ideas in a way you don't understand them, and I just think it warps your perception of the world eventually. And I don't know. I think, and I also think it creates people who are like easily influenced too, and that's the other problem. Going to your other point about, Gen Z or even Gen Alpha, like younger people with the algorithm, like they're easily influenced by this stuff because they don't know anything else, and it becomes propaganda in its own way,
Yeah.
And that is kind of where we are right now. And it's kind of rough actually, because trying to find content that you like that isn't almost quote propaganda in the way it's presented, it's becoming hard, dude. Because there's like, because Kind of Funny is a great example. Like I consider them kind of like a propaganda outlet, because they literally use their platform to push their political views, and they talk about fucking video games and comic books. Why would I care about their political views? It's like, that's so, I don't know. I feel like I've like meandered into a fucking meadow way off of the original point, but I just feel like all this stuff is interconnected though. All this stuff is related. And people missing the point on a game like Helldivers 2 is like the like the beginning of it, That's where it starts. And they miss the point on Helldivers 2, and then they get fed something by their algorithm, because they watch the video that also missed the point about Helldivers 2, and like then they start watching all this content that maybe paints their mentality in a certain way, one direction or another. It's like, I think it's all connected. That stuff's all connected nowadays, and it's like, it's kind of scary actually when you think about it like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why the article is interesting on how they're just going to the source of these people who make the satire. That's like going to CinemaSins and like, all right, CinemaSins, how do we undo this? Like, how do we defend against this? And it's like, I think that's a good start, because like even the government, like the UN government, is like, I don't know how we fucking combat this shit, without getting, in my opinion, without overreaching and just like shutting down the algorithm, like, because that's a form of overreach.
That's like that is a totalitarian move,
Exactly. It's totalitarian in itself. So it's like, what did you do? Do you want freedom of speech, or do you want? But the freedom of speech is also feeding the totalitarianism that's going on.
It's creating its own form of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think that's
it's a conversation. Maybe there's a middle ground. Maybe the idea of true freedom is dangerous in some ways. It's like,
I mean, maybe that's a tough conversation to have, but maybe it's a conversation that needs to be had. Maybe there is a such thing as, and it's gonna sound wild to say. It sounds wild to say a such thing as too much freedom, but it's like, what if there is such thing as too much freedom?
See, this is the issue. This is the issue, though. Like once you start like putting barriers around what you can do, where does it end? And that's the issue. Can you trust a governmental entity to make those decisions without getting corrupted themselves? It's like, not really. So it's like, I don't know. It's a really hard conversation, because humans are just so flawed, in the way they operate. So it's tough.
And it sucks that this media has, or this type of conversations and stuff like that has leaked this way into video games. It's almost like you can't talk about, I mean, you could talk about a lot of different video games, which I think why games like Dragon's Dogma, pretty much primarily Capcom games, in my opinion, but there are definitely other games that do it right. Like you can't have a game like, in my opinion, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? Now, we know, even black gamers know, okay, this is primarily in Europe. I'm not going to see a black person here. Whatever. Cool, right? There would be no issue with that. Or whatever the case may be. But there might be a 0.1% of people who don't understand that, and that gets blown up to an absurd degree. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you got people like, yeah, no black people, no trans people, whatever the case may be. This is the perfect game. And they haven't even played the game yet. It's just based off of that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's like that extreme side of that spectrum or whatever. And it's just like, in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it's not making a satirical point or whatever. And it's just like, bro, we just wanted a game, like a realism.
It was a historically accurate game, yeah.
Historically accurate game, RPG in that time period. Like, and that just so happened. I even saw a clip from it, right? And I didn't even think it was racist. I thought it was fucking funny. He encounters an actual black person, and the black person's like, I'm traveling, or whatever. He's like a rich black person or whatever. He's like, I'm traveling, I'm a merchant or whatever. He's like, yeah. But he was like, but like, why do you look like that? Are you okay? He's like, bro, like, this is just my skin. Like, because he'd never seen a black person before. And it's like, I'm pretty sure if a white, I mean, we have seen it when like a white person encounters, people who've never seen white people before. They're like, what the fuck is that? Is that a ghost, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like,
well,
I like that. It was like it was done in a non-racist way. It was just like that's probably how people acted when
that's
they
probably
saw.
how you would have reacted at that period of time.
Yeah,
If you'd never
exactly.
even seen them, you never heard of this place, you've never heard of
Exactly.
these people, and you just see one out on the road one day. It's like, okay, yeah. So I mean, and to your point though, is it possible? Like Warhorse is trying to make a game that's just historically accurate, right? But is it possible in today's day and age to do that without making a political statement? Because um, most things now are either do insert the diversity, quote unquote, or they don't. And it feels like you have to be in one or the other. So it's like if you're making the choice not to put those characters in the game, like you're inherently putting yourself in the bucket where you're not, you know,
I don't.
pushing diversity or whatever. So
Me, in my opinion, no. I think when they made Kingdom Come Deliverance 2,
yeah,
and this is just from my opinion, and I feel like a lot of gamers of color feel the way I feel, right? If you're just putting a character in there just to meet some kind of like diversity quota or whatever,
yeah,
then that's when I get upset because it's not genuine. I don't want that character in there because you think those characters should be in there or whatever, right? Um, and it's almost like, and then it's certain terms and things of that nature, right? Like that's why Dragon Age 2 Belgard got the flack that it got, right? Instead of making up their own terms for like these things that you're trying to say, they just outright said them, and it wasn't
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, they tried to hide it or anything of that nature. It was not hide it, but like put it in a way where people could understand it. They didn't trust their viewers or their gamers enough to understand what they were trying to do, so
Yeah,
they just did it.
they had they had the discussion we're having right now, and they decided that people are too stupid to understand
Exactly.
these things at a subtle level. Yeah, and
And that's
they felt like they had to be blunt.
Yeah, and that's why, like, even though like I'm left leaning, I hate stuff like that because it's like you can't treat people like idiots. Like
Yeah,
you have to show them some type of grace.
right.
As far as that, you got to approach the conversation with an open mind or whatever the case may be. And I try to give people, I would talk to them, and then once I understand where their viewpoints is, like, okay, well, maybe I can't change their mind about this, or maybe they just don't like me because I am this person. After I talk to them or whatever the case may be, then I leave it at that. Like whatever the case may be, I'll go about my business or whatever. But I think the problem is like with Dragon Age Velgar, it comes off as preachy. Like even though they may think in their heads they're not doing this, it does come off as preachy or whatever. To where you play games like Mass Effect though, older Mass Effect games, and you're like, oh, okay, like you can see they're just in normal situations. Like no one's like, and then someone may just come up and be like, "Hey, I want to give you a kiss as male shepherd," and it's another male character, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of into you," and you're like, "Oh, this character is gay or whatever," and you're like, "Oh, I'm not really into that,"
Yeah,
and then that cuts the storyline. But the way they written it was like a realistic situation that may arise or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I I, I don't know. I just think even from the people making the media, I think the
mhm,
literacy is dead because you
yeah.
can, like, I always point to, like, me and Jay always talk about it. I always point to that one episode in Star Trek: The Next Generation where they meet a where they meet a race of people that's like non-binary. That is their thing, but they don't say the word non-binary. They just say we don't believe in the concept of male or female. They are
Yeah.
them and we are us type situation, and uh, and I think one of the characters of their race was like, I identify, like she started meeting like the enterprise people and everything of that nature, and she's like, I identify more with the females. Like I'm a female. That's why I identify as. That's why I kind of gravitate towards. And the quote and that planet was like trying to put her in jail and like re-educate her and shit like that, or that person or whatever. It was crazy. And this came out in the
Uh,
90s, Justin.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, bro.
and I
Star
watched it.
Trek's Star Trek's impressive.
Yeah, and that's what makes the newer Star Treks so disappointing, because they don't have the wherewithal to trust their viewer to not do that. Like, they'll just blatantly put stuff in there, and it's just like, no, you gotta
But
like
that's
write.
because the writers. That's because the writers are the type of people who they want to bludgeon their point into people rather than reason it, or even hint at it,
Yeah, and I feel like you can bludgeon your point, right? I feel like that show or that episode in the TNG in the 90s was a very bludgeon point in what they were trying to make. But the concept was so wild back then. Like, I didn't even know that concept existed, like, back in the 90s or whatever. And I'm pretty sure back in the 90s people weren't even thinking about that. So for that concept to even come to fruition in that episode in the 90s was like, lets me know people were thinking about it and talking about it or whatever. And how would another society, or race of people take that, or whatever the case may be? So it's just like, or another species rather, of people take that. So I don't know. I just think it's an interesting conversation, and uh I think not only as for propaganda, but for all points of media literacy, um, we see that it's dying. Like, really good script writing is dying and stuff like that. I think that's why people like The Boys so much. Where I think that was another example where people were like unironically, you know, praising Homelander, and I'm like, you don't see this terrible point of
Bro,
Homelander.
no, the classic example of this was Walter White back in the day, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Even I fell for it. I fell for it.
Man. Where
I was
people
like,
are
oh,
like,
I hate Skylar, dude. Like,
bro, dude, those people were oh my god, you were one of those, bro. Oh
and
my
I
god,
watched it again, and I'm like, holy shit,
dude,
Walter's a
no,
piece of fucking shit.
nah, man, like, dude, I'm sorry, like Skylar is the one of the most like misunderstood characters in media, bro. Like the hate that character gets is so unjustified. It is fucking crazy. Like, yes, she does some bad things over the course of the show. Yeah, she says mean things to Walter. Oh god. But bro, her husband is a fucking turned into a meth dealer. Like, and put her into it, like brought her fucking into it, and it basically forced her to be a part of it, and it's like, yeah, I think that would drive most normal people insane and make them do crazy things, a lot crazier than anything Skylar did, in my opinion.
Well,
Um,
that's the Breaking Bad is such a good example. It happens in the third episode, I think,
yeah,
where Walter is confronted by his old company
yeah,
partner, and he
yeah,
says, "Hey, man, I will pay for your cancer treatment. I will
yeah,
pay for it."
yeah.
And
Just come
Walter's like,
for us. Yeah.
"Yeah, just come work for us." And he's like, "Nah."
Actually, I don't even think that was a requirement.
No,
I
it
think
wasn't a
that's right.
requirement. He gave him a
It was
job,
just a gift. It was just a gift out of the kindness of their
and he
hearts,
had
dude.
too much pride.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
And that's how this whole thing started. If he hadn't said yes, the rest of
Yeah.
Breaking Bad
No,
never would have
Walt
happened.
was a fucking asshole, bro. He's dude, when you watch the show back as multiple times, like when you see Mike's reaction to Walt, he's kind of the way I feel about Walt, ultimately. Like Mike fucking hated his goddamn guts, dude, but it's just, it so that's the good example though. It's probably the classic one where people missing obviously in the moment watching the show week to week, over several years. I'm sure, it's pretty natural for, I think, for most people to, kind of root for Walt, but like binge watching the show and seeing it all happen in quick succession, like it's clear that he's the bad guy, guys. It's like he is the bad guy in the show. It's like, so I don't know. I don't think this is a new thing. Media illiteracy is like always kind of existed. It's just more pronounced now. And I think
Well, I think it's
unfortunately, I think you go ahead.
no. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Well, I think the way people are, I think the internet fosters this environment where people aren't genuine either, so they almost feign media literacy sometimes to make some kind of point or push some kind of point or something, so it's like I don't even know if what a lot of what we're seeing online can be interpreted as real, because people might be just acting things out in a way too, like these are all possibilities to me. It's just so I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. There's a lot
Yeah,
of nuance to it.
it is a lot of nuance to it, and I just say like I think my disappointment is I think oh no, maybe you are right, and I'm hoping you're right. Is that people are purposely missing the point?
Mhm.
But there's like a 40% of my brain is like, no, people aren't missing the point. They just don't get the point. No matter what side of the spectrum you're on, I think a lot of people are just missing the point of a lot of stuff, and that really scares me. Um, in my opinion, but yeah,
Well, what scares me more than anything is how easily influenced people are,
yeah,
where like they'll watch their favorite streamer and their favorite streamer will, I don't know, mention some product or something, and it's like or play or just do something and they're like, "Oh, I'll do that," and it's like, bro, like, man, are you that easily influenced? It's like, I don't know.
well,
There's something cool about it depending on the context sometimes. Like if your favorite streamer is playing a certain game and then you start playing that game, like that's one thing. But if your favorite streamer says go do this and you just go do it, you're
yeah,
kind of
that's the
like
problem.
a
Yeah,
yeah, you're kind of just like a fucking lemming, basically. So I don't know. That's why on this show, we've always talked about what we want is like we want people to take away the idea that like you need to think for yourself. You can consume as much stuff on YouTube and media and whatever as you want, but you have to come away with your own takeaways. Like, don't rely on other people to form an opinion for you, and then you take that opinion as your own. Like that is one of the most dangerous things out there, and that's how propaganda is effective, and that's what I mean when I say influencers do spread their own propaganda, because we see it all the time with these, especially right now in video games. One of the most popular things to do is you see a black character in a game and you go, "Oh, the game's fucking woke," and it's like, "Oh, pronouns. Oh, it's so woke. This woke shit's got to get out of my games." It's like that is literally just a guy like spreading propaganda, basically. It's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's not coming from a governmental entity, but it's still propaganda,
yeah,
um so and that's the type of shit that we need to do without in video games, so in all media really. But all right, Montreal, that went a lot longer than I was expecting.
yeah.
Let's move on to the next story, which is February Circana numbers for the video game industry. So we've had an interesting start to 2025 here. So I'll just go through the numbers real quick and then we can talk. So total video game sales for February 2025, 4.507 billion this year versus 4.795 billion last year. That's a 6% decrease. Then video game content, this is physical digital sales, microtransactions, subscriptions, etc. 4.031 billion this year versus 4.217 billion last year. That's a 4% decrease. Then video game hardware, 256 million this year versus 341 million last year. That's a 25% decrease.
Oh shit.
Then video game accessories, 220 million this year versus 238 million last year. That is an 8% decrease. And then year to date so far, so January, February versus January, February last year, total video game sales 9.02 billion this year versus 10.116 billion last year. That is an 11% decrease year over year. And then video game content 8.146 billion last year versus 8.899 billion this year. This is 8% decrease. Then video game hardware 461 million this year versus 712 million last year, a 35% decrease. And then video game accessories, a 413 million this year versus 505 million last year, 18% decrease. So Montreal, yeah, these numbers are stark, are they not?
Yeah, I think people aren't buying as many consoles. The capital, a lot of people don't have the capital anymore. Or not
Yeah.
capital, but I think a lot of people are just saving their money because they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think next year, once we have a better idea of where the economy is going to go, I think numbers will get better. In my
Well,
opinion,
also you got to remember we're on the precipice of Switch 2, right?
yes,
So that is a huge factor here. That will probably make hardware sales positive for the year, more than likely on its own.
yeah,
But I will be interested to see how positive it makes those sales because, um, I'm sure people are chomping at the bit for Switch 2, but there are a lot of Switches out there, and
a
I don't
lot
think
of switches.
Nintendo does not seem intent on abandoning the Switch entirely for Switch 2. So I actually kind of wonder if it's going to be a soft kind of launch, in terms of sales numbers. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. It kind of depends on the strength of the lineup coming up when the console launches too, which could be significant. There's a lot of games on the docket that Nintendo's kind of holding back right now. So,
Yeah,
so
and
we'll see.
And I mean, like I said, not to get political, but this does affect the economy. There are a lot of battleground countries having their elections. So, like I said, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Germany. I know some other countries in the EU. Uh, the EU is not the EU itself, but like the United Kingdom itself was having elections, and then obviously America was having elections as well. So I think a lot of that was contributing because a lot of people don't know where stuff is going to go. So yeah, they're just trying to save their money, and in video games is a luxury. So
Yeah.
if you
Yep.
don't need it, don't buy it type situation. And on top of that, to also conflate what's going on, like you said, we haven't really released any kind of new Xboxes, or we have had the PlayStation 5 Pro, but the Switch 2 still hasn't come out yet, and almost damn near everyone has a fucking Switch at this point.
Yeah.
Um, so
True. Yeah.
there's no need to buy one if unless you broke your existing Switch. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a really bleak year right now for sales, but I think it's going to pick up by next year, by the end of this
Well,
year.
and the other thing I think is kind of that quote that DJ sent from GDC about live service games. So this was actually from the Helldivers 2 CEO as well. So I'm just going to quote what DJ put in the chat here. So, quote, speaking of the Game Developers Conference panel attended by PC Gamer, this is from PC Gamer, I guess, Pilestead pointed the finger at the rise of live service games, particularly battle royales, as symptomatic of a bigger problem for the industry. Developers all start trying to compete for the same niche when the next big trend kicks off, which leaves behind countless numbers of gamers who want to play other things and are willing to spend money on them but don't have the opportunity. The games industry is caught in a vicious cycle of death and rebirth. Every so often, we lay off thousands of people suddenly, and no one understands why. And I think it's just because we converge. Um, and then this goes on. He concluded his talk by urging developers to not only take risks, but to do their own thing. Make your games according to your studio's foundation and style. Don't copy others. Think about what you want to make and take a gamble on it. End quote. So that's him talking about the state of the industry, I guess. But and I
And
think this is hitting the nail on the head. We've been talking about this for I don't know, fucking years at this point. But I think this is contributing to the sales numbers as well. I just don't think games are very interesting in recent years. Like we're eating good right now, I think, and I say that, but when I like look back on games in the last like 5 years, it's a very like stale industry right now, you know? Um and I think I think his point about companies chasing the same niche is very true. I do think his baseline for where it kind of rose is a little off. Like I mentioned this in the chat, like World of Warcraft was really the thing to me that kind of kicked this all off 21 years ago in 2004. And how many companies tried to make their own copycat, WoW MMO, WoW Killer, and all that shit back in the day. And then, remember like everybody was always like, oh, this shooter's the fucking Halo Killer or whatever. Like those were things like everyone was trying to copy these games or not copy them, but compete with these games and beat them at their own game, and they all failed, right? They never could do it. And that didn't teach the industry a lesson back in the day, which it should have, because tons of companies went out of business trying to make MMOs, tons of MMOs failed and, lost people jobs, closed entire companies, it's just like, and it's like the industry didn't learn from that though. So when the BR craze started, everybody started making BRs. And what happened with BRs? Because it's very funny to kind of look at. PUBG was the first one. It's still popular today. They managed to retain their audience and even increase it a little bit, it seems like. Fortnite came out, and that game was huge, but they've kind of turned away from BR, right, in recent years. And, BR is still in the game. It's a big component of Fortnite, but they've kind of moved more into the Roblox, build your own content kind of type of game now with Fortnite, which is probably a smart move, right? And then you have Apex that came out, which that game, as far as we have understood it in more recent last couple of years, is completely like cratering, like player base is just abandoning the game for whatever reason. So it's like, in terms of BR, there's like the big boys are still there, and that's about it. There's no small BRs, really. I mean, I guess you could like call Tarkov or something, but I consider that a different genre personally.
Yeah,
I don't really think that's a strict BR.
So
it's like and think about how many BRs were either in development and were canceled, or came out and immediately failed, or failed within 6 months over the last 8 years, Montrell. Like dozens and dozens and fucking dozens of them, And imagine if they had made a different game with that effort, a different genre of game. It's just, that's exactly the problem. Is I feel like his point is correct in the sense that, like, stop chasing the trends. Make a game that you think is going to be interesting, and make it as well as you can make it, and it'll sell, bro. Like, look at fucking Split Fiction. People are losing their mind over this fucking game. By the way, we need to play that. People are losing their mind over this game because it's different. It's something new. Like, no one's made a game like this, It's like, but it's, dude, it's like, and it's coming from a small team at EA. It's like they let them make their game the way they wanted to make it. And it's like huge. It's fucking huge, man. I think people are hungry for something different right now. Like, I really do think this is a trend right now, that people are looking, they're tired of these same genres, these same games, Like, Assassin's Creed has just come out, and we don't know how it's going to do, but I'm not expecting good numbers from them eventually. Like, I think people are fucking, they're tired of it. We played Assassin's Creed. We've played it 10 times. How many more times can we play Assassin's Creed? It's like,
I don't think it's going to save the Ubisoft, but it did hit 1 million players in the first day. So,
okay. Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, that just, but to your point, right? I have Ghost of Tsushima. Like, we already got this. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you 100%. I agree with this article 100%. I mean, we even made the joke. And then I guess like a couple hours after we got out the podcast, someone else said that same thing, like totally unrelated to us.
Oh yeah,
like dudes only play if it has guns or like
a ball in it. Yeah,
a ball in it. Like, we're playing, they're gonna play it, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is particularly to the U.S. market, but yeah, like, I think a lot of people are just tired of it, man. Like, we don't want. Call of Duty has been out it's been out forever. But like, I consider it like the actual stretch of Call of Duty started with Call of Duty 4. So that was 2007.
Yeah.
So 18 years we've had Call of Duty, bro.
Yeah.
And
they haven't missed a year.
Exactly. And I don't understand. Like, when I look at Call of Duty, I just don't get it anymore. I'm like, I don't understand it anymore. And I understand there are like newer kids who grow up and now they can play Call of Duty. So they're like, you don't get it, bro. You just saying it because you're old. And it's like, I'm not saying it because I'm old, but yeah, that is a part of it too, because I've been here. I've seen this before.
I've seen this game for 23 straight years or whatever the fuck. You know? It's like, brother, like, what, like,
And
how
then
many more years in a row can you play the same fucking video game, you know?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And then even when like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, uh in the different variations of Call of Duty 2, you had Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 2 Big Red one, and then another version of Call of Duty 2. Like those were different versions of Call of Duty uh that all had like the World War II theme and everything of that nature, but it
yeah,
was like very unique in that situation.
yeah.
But you remember we always do this in gaming. How many World War II shooters did we have? You remember that whole
Yeah,
era of
and
World War
people
II
got sick of
shooters?
it, remember? And,
Yeah.
like, eventually they stopped selling, like, they weren't selling very
Yeah.
well.
And then that's why Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 did so well at that time period. You remember when Halo was out and how many games came out? I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the Halo killer," and you're like, "Bro, like, just make your own
Yeah,
fucking game."
yeah.
Like, in my opinion, that's why Killzone failed because they marketed it as a Halo killer instead of marketing it as, "Hey, look at this cool concept we have of moon people, of a colony on the moon, like breaking
Yeah,
off from Earth and then becoming like a split
yeah,
faction or whatever the case may be, right? Like they
yeah,
didn't do that.
yeah.
Um, but then you have other things like the Resistance, like the Resistance games that they won't revisit. It took World War II and turned it on its head. Like, what if an alien invasion happened right during World War II? And I thought that was like, you know, like
It's a great
that's fucking
concept. It really is a great
exact.
concept. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think that's what he means. They took a risk on that. They're like, well, we know that World War II is a good shooter.
yeah,
Is the thing. How can we spin it on our head and make it our own thing? And they did that.
yeah.
Um, and I understand that even like Apex, right? It's a BR shooter, and in my opinion, the only thing they did differently was the movement mechanics, right? Like
Yeah.
they took two genres that were popular, which is the hero shooter genre and then the BR genre, and they put it together, which I think is really cool, really cool concept, and it worked. But then they just didn't keep up with it, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another whole different conversation itself of games trying to emulate the big boys, but then they don't understand how to keep up the game or the quality
I don't
of the
understand
game.
why the big boys succeeded in the first place, you know?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they're like chasing something they don't even understand, you know, like why it succeeded.
Exactly.
And I mean, dude, for me, like, we could have the same conversation about Monster Hunter a little bit, you know?
Yep.
I think I'm not that into Wilds because I've fucking played what, 6 of these now? This is like the 6th or 7th one I've played. It's like I have played the series to death, and I think this is exactly why I didn't want to get in on the low rank, high rank, and I let myself fall for the hype of Wilds. And then I started playing the game, and it's like it's the fastest Monster Hunter I've ever played in terms of like beating it, you know, like getting to the high end, high level content in the game. Like, I mean, I probably put 60 hours into it and I'm done. You know, I'm pretty much like done with the game, you know, for the most part. And that's the fastest that's ever happened for me in a Monster Hunter game. Even Rise wasn't that quick, you know, with how even with the content, lack of content in that game.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting here like, I mean, I'm just like I'm fighting. I don't know. It's part of it's like that's the reason I wanted to wait for G rank is there's so much content in G rank that it keeps you playing and playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. You know, it's like there's not a like you really realistically can't get to the end of the treadmill. You know, it's like very
Yeah.
hard to do. You have to be insanely dedicated, you know, to do it. So I think that's where I'm at. That's my headspace. And it's like I'm having fatigue with this series that I love, you know, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Wilds. I love Wilds. Everything I said about Wilds a couple weeks ago is still true.
Mhm.
But it's just in terms of my headspace right at this moment, I'm looking for new experiences right now. Monster Hunter's just not it at the moment, you know, and there's just not enough content
But
there to
see,
keep me
see,
engaged, you know.
you're a different type of gamer, or we both
Yeah,
are.
I know. I know. We
We're
are. No, yeah, it's
yeah.
fair.
Um, not to say like, but we are built differently. We are definitely built different. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, buddy.
but like even Monster Hunter, I think the reason why that game popped off so well, right? We've been in this series for I think you like 13 years and then me like 20 years or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
So
right.
we understand the concept of Monster Hunter and or whatever the case may be. But this is a new concept to a lot of people, and that's why it
Yes,
sells so
yes.
well. You
Yes.
know?
No,
Uh
Monster Hunter has had the perfect trajectory, I think, where it was really popular in one region for a long time, and
yep.
then it got worldwide acclaim right when they were making the best game they ever made, you know?
Yep.
And like, dude, them popping off with World was the absolute perfect timing. Capcom's execution, like, literally almost couldn't have been better with the way things happen with World, you know. Um and as much as like we didn't love World at launch, it still was it was engaging because of how different it was from everything else we'd ever played, though. Like,
Yeah.
playing Monster Hunter on a console was a new experience in and of itself, you know. And when we got Iceborne, I mean, we were lost. Like, that game absorbed us. Like, it literally put its arms around us and didn't let go, you know. And it's like, so yeah, so yeah, I think that's a great point, though. It's like, for most people, though, that are playing Monster Hunter Wilds right now, this is still relatively fresh. They've only played two other games in the series, probably.
Yeah,
So
exactly. A lot of people only started, like, there's so many threads and comments of people who started in World, and that was it.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and on top of that, I think like a series like Monster Hunter as well, they did it correctly
yeah,
to not
yeah,
disenfranchise their veteran players. They gave
yeah,
us GU, or I'm sorry, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate,
yeah,
where if you
yeah,
want to go back and play that experience, you can. And that's like the ultimate old Monster Hunter package. Like, every
yeah.
monster is in there, every map is in there,
So insane,
everything. And then they
so
and then they
insane.
added more content on top of that. They
Yeah,
they added these deviant monsters and all this other bullshit. The grind will literally never stop for you. And it's
yeah,
like, um, I think that's how you do stuff like that or whatever. And I think I want, and I will give grace. Call of Duty try to do the same thing, in my opinion. They try
mm,
to, come out with the remasters, Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty, uh, Modern Warfare 2, and everything of that nature. I don't think it hit as hard though,
yeah,
because it felt like a cash grab more than a celebration of the franchise. If that make any sense.
yeah,
Whereas, uh, like Monster Hunter Generations was like, it felt like a legitimate. It had every player hub in there from all the games and
yeah,
everything. Like,
yeah,
nothing was amiss in that game, and it felt like a genuine, like, thank you for this journey. We're about to go on a different journey, but we haven't forgotten about you guys at all, and
yeah,
this is what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, like, I also think that's why, like, Harry Potter sold so well, right? People just wanted something different. They're like, oh my god! First of all, it's Harry Potter, and then second of all, like, the game actually, the people who made it, Avalanche, tried. They actually tried their ass off to make a genuine Harry Potter
yeah.
game, and it's so like
Yeah,
hotcakes
and
or whatever.
it's that game, while it has many trappings of games we've played, like Assassin's Creed and stuff,
Yeah.
the actual game, though, like the combat, running around, using your wand, like casting spells and stuff, that's all kind of new conceptually.
Yep.
At least in the space of like a AAA open world game like that. That's not something we've seen before. So that is, like, I'm not going to say quote unique per se, but it is fairly unique, at least in the AAA space. So it's I think there's a huge appeal there. Plus, it's Harry Potter, like, it's a big IP, right? It's an IP that I think people have been chomping at the bit to get video games in for a long time. It's like, so that's kind of like where I'm at with it. I don't have an issue with a derivative game, a high quality like derivative game, if it's in a space like, Harry Potter or something like that, like an IP that's like awesome to have a video game in, but I think that's like, for me, it's like Assassin's Creed is just so like, it was just funny. I've played like two of them, realistically, but and I haven't beat any. I've never beaten one, but it's like Assassin's Creed is just like literally the most generic open world video game you could possibly fucking put in front of somebody at this point. It really is. And it's like, it's unfortunate that that's where it is, but Ubisoft did that by annualizing it, the way they did.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
it's like,
Exactly.
so now I look at it as a generic video game, and whereas when you actually think about the concept of Assassin's Creed, it's actually really cool, but it's just they ran it into the fucking ground, and now Ubisoft's falling apart because they don't have anything that people care about, and Assassin's Creed's not selling enough for them to maintain their giant bloated fucking corporation. It's
Well,
like,
the
so
the problem too is, like, they had Assassin's Creed is uniquely their idea, their concept.
yes, yep,
And
yep,
if you
yep,
want to be honest with you, people copied them off of it.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
it became like a a snake eats its own tail type of situation to where they started to chase, like you said, became annual and everything of that nature. And they didn't need to do that. Like, they didn't need to do 500 Assassin's Creed games. I mean, there's not 500. And then realistically, I think it's been about 4 or 5 years. No, actually, you know what? Mirage came out like 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bro.
About
No,
that
it hasn't been that long, bro. Like, yeah, there was the one period of time before Origins came out. You remember that, where they legitimately actually said, we're taking a break from Assassin's Creed for a couple years, and we're done annualizing, you know, and they actually didn't annualize. I think there was, but I even think that was only a 2-year gap for that one too.
And it came out to be Origins 2. Like, it was literally just Origins combat and everything like that.
Because Origins came out, and then I think Odyssey came out 2 years after that, and then I think Valhalla came out 2 years after that, and then then we have Mirage now 2 years after that, and then we have Shadows now. You know, it's like, that's so, yeah, you made 5 games in 10 years. You know, it's still too much to me.
You know? Yeah, and that's insane when you think about it. And
especially given how big they are. Like, dude, like Odyssey is just exhibit A in video game bloat. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, that game is just unnecessarily gigantic, you know? It's
but so I was doing about that map, bro. I was like, I can't play this.
Dude, when I did that for the first time too, when you get on the ship and you're like, holy shit, they literally built the entirety of Greece in a video game. Like, fucking, like, blade of grass by blade of grass. Like, are they fucking serious? Like, what in the fuck? You know, there's like 20 regions of Greece and they're all fucking huge, you know? I'm like, what the fuck, man? So that's why I never beat the game. It was overwhelming. It's too much, you know, and the game's not good enough to keep me engaged for that amount of time, you know?
It was disappointing too, right? It's Ubisoft. They have their own, like, vision of games that they can create, and they just fuck it up. Like,
but they're capable. I hate Ubisoft because, like, they are capable of making good stuff, man.
Bro, look at Ghost. I'm not sorry, not Ghost Recon, but look at Rainbow Six Siege. Like, that is a super popular game.
Yeah,
because the mechanics, like, it's a tactical arena-based shooter that people love, and it's also a hero shooter. By the way,
hero shooter, yeah, right, yeah,
and people love it because it's so different from all the other shooters or whatever the case may be.
Right, they made a niche for themselves with that game. You know,
exactly. But then you have people like me who used to love the single player aspect of Rainbow Six, controlling my squad and everything like that. Now I have to turn to, like, Ready or Not or something like that to get that kind of experience out of you know, the tactical shooter genre or whatever. And then, like, there's no more Splinter Cells. Like, where's the Splinter Cell at?
Or the Division, bro. The Division.
Oh my god, the Division was such a cool concept.
What are we doing? Where's the Division?
They don't care, bro.
Dude,
it has to pay money. It has to be super live service.
Oh my god,
like, it can't just be fun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's so fucking annoying, dude. Division 1 fucking ruled. Okay, like, it fucking ruled.
I mean, and then they have other games like Beyond Good and Evil and everything of that nature that they just don't want to touch because it's not a live service slop. Or and then you release
Heroes Might Magic, bro. They fucking ran that series into the fucking ground, you know?
And then you release slop like what's it, Skull and Bones, saying it's a quadruple A game.
Yep.
And you don't even have animations for people boarding ships in a pirate game,
right?
You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. One industry that's immune to all this, by the way, and I hate that I'm going to bring it up, is sports games. Never will go out of style. Never. Yeah. They're immune to all this shit. So
they are, actually, and it's really, that's actually, like, really fucking whatever. We don't need to get into that, but it's really annoying at the end of the day. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, games they've made. Oh yeah, like the Mario Rabbids, dude.
Yeah,
what an interesting series from Ubisoft. You know,
yeah,
like XCOM, it's so random, but it's so cool. You know.
Yeah, and why they just abandon XCOM like that?
Well, no, they don't make XCOM.
They don't make XCOM. Okay.
No, that's Firaxis and Take-Two.
Okay, I thought that was the combat is XCOM though.
No, but exactly right. They made a fucking XCOM game with Mario You know?
It was cool.
Yeah, dude, isn't it? Like it's fucking crazy. And they sold that shit on Nintendo consoles, you know? So it's like they're capable of making cool games and they have good ideas, you know, sometimes. And I just think you know, I don't know, their expectations are out of whack. Everything's got to make $1 bajillion. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown being a perfect fucking example, bro. Like we're not gonna get a sequel to that game because it didn't make $1 bajillion, you know.
But that's what I'm saying with game
Um,
companies, man. Like, why
yeah.
does dude like and then you come out with the interesting concept. And then the one time we're like, no, you can save this game. They just don't want to do it. And you know what I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. I'm thinking about
Anthem.
Anthem.
Yeah, 100%.
Iron Man suits mixed with RPG, mixed with like
Mixed with Diablo, basically. You know? That's what the game was, man.
It was so good. Like,
yeah,
all they needed was content.
It was a third-person Iron Man Diablo game where you could fly around, you know? Like, they just needed fucking content and balance. Like, they needed to balance things properly, but yeah, I don't know. And I mean, we're not going to get into the sports games, but they're part of the problem, Montreal. You know? And to be fair, we're also part of the problem, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're talking about all these interesting games. I'm sitting here like struggling to play Kingdom Come Deliverance for like 2 months when, you know, I'm sitting here like we're fucking diving into PUBG and I'm playing World of Warcraft. Like, you know, I'm playing the same games I've played before, and you and me and Jet, we just keep doing this, right? We cycle through the same games we've already played. But to be fair to us, at the same time, we're hanging out with the boys, but maybe that's what everyone else is doing too. You know, it's like maybe they play Madden together. You know, there's just groups of guys just play Madden together. You know,
no,
you don't think so?
No, every time I see people playing Madden, they're playing Madden by themselves or online against
in the fake in Mutt. Sorry, they're not playing franchise mode.
Yeah, they're not playing franchise
What am
mode.
I talking about? They're definitely playing Mutt.
I've never seen people like they're playing online, but they're playing like 1-on-1 against each other or something like that, you know? I never see like people just playing like, you remember how Madden used to have at one point you can attach like 8 controllers to a fucking console and like play it or whatever. Like
everybody controlled a different player.
Yeah. So
sick, dude.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore. But I mean, in our defense, right? We do play other games. Like those are our comfort games. Like, you know, we do have like I mean, and there are gamers, and like not to say that all multiplayer games are bad. Like there are gamers like that. I mean, Jet's a gamer like that. He plays nothing but multiplayer games. Like that's it.
He bought a PS5 and he's probably never personally actually played it.
Yeah, and all three, like the entire group chat has told him, please play Mass Effect. You will fucking love it. He's like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I'd rather play Apex or PUBG or something. Yeah,
exactly. Like, so I mean, and that's, in my opinion, that's okay. Yeah, when we're talking about the grand majority of players, though. Why is it the trend of that? Why is this trend to not play? I feel like people play Monster Hunter Wilds and World. Yes, it was really interesting, but because one of their favorite influencers played the game, and they're like, "Oh, this game is really fucking good!" Like, and it's multiplayer. Yeah. I mean, I primarily played it for most of my Monster Hunter career single player until maybe try.
Yeah,
and then I started playing it online. But yeah, like I don't know.
By the way, Monster, we got to get you back on like a training regimen with Monster Hunter, man. I feel like when I've been doing hunts with you, you're getting your ass whipped by these monsters, bro.
What?
No, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, maybe you're out of your element because your hammer sucks and you're not playing hammer. You're playing other weapons you don't usually play, but you know,
I usually do the most damage, man. What are you talking about?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I feel like I just see you getting wrecked, bro. Like,
nah.
I'm just fucking with you. But I don't know. Like, part of me, I think with Monster Hunter, like part of me wants to just like go do a random SOS flares and like help people and just see how that goes. Cause like I want to see like I almost want to know like how good are we relative to your average Monster Hunter Wilds flare, you know?
Bro, I do SOS. I join SOS flares, and now that I understand the concept of the hammer and stuff like that, I don't die at all. But I've been in games where people with like triple cart,
Yeah.
like we'll
Yeah.
lose the mission or whatever, and it won't be because of me. It'll be because of someone else or whatever the case may be. The vast majority of hunters are like this game is genuinely hard to a lot of people. Like a vast majority of
It's
SOS
so
players,
funny. It was just so funny, bro.
it is like the vast majority of SOS players is the Archvale, Gore Magala, and believe it or not, the Ray Dow, which I think is a budget, which is a great value Astalos, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey man, don't talk about Ray Dow like that. I think he's cool.
He
He's
is a
cool.
great budget.
We
He's
do
a
need
great
Astalos,
value.
bro. Though we do though, man. Dude, we need Astalos. That's such a good monster. Hey, they're bringing Mizusune. That's one of the 4, right? From that group.
Yeah. Yep.
So
It is.
we need Astalos next, and then maybe the giant mammoth one. What's the mammoth one called?
Fuck, I forgot. I know what you're talking about too.
Was it like Gamoth or something? Something like that?
Maybe.
Hold on. Let me look it up.
Yeah, it actually was called Game Off. It was called Game Off.
Wow, how do I remember that? Because that monster's never been in another Monster Hunter game except for that one. That's fucking hilarious, bro. That was 4, right? Wasn't it?
No, Generations. It was first introduced in Generations.
Or is that that was Generations. Okay, that was Generations.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, the moral of the story is, guys, play different games. Okay, like when developers take chances on shit, we need to reward them by playing their games. And I'm happy to see like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Split Fiction like having a lot of success, but there's a lot of good shit out there, and I wish I had time to play it all. I really do. But it's like, it's just, I don't know. It takes a village.
I think that's the other thing too. I mean, I know we're about to sign off, but I think that's the other thing too. I think the oversaturation of games. Like back when we were younger,
Definitely.
we didn't have that much money. I mean, because we were 13 or 14 or whatever. So we could ask our parents like every once in a while to buy us a game or whatever. But we could play these games and play the same game for months on end, or go to GameStop and get a game for $10 or whatever. But your selection wasn't crazy, right? It was a vast selection, but it wasn't like crazy. Now you got Steam, which is also on the other end. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing these games because you have all these summer sales. Games are cheaper than they ever been before, in my opinion. So you have no excuse not to play these games. But I also understand it's a term for it, but I'm just gonna call it like choice freezing, where you have so many options that you just freeze up and you're like, I don't.
Analysis paralysis, baby.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
But Montrell, you remember back in the day when it was possible to play like everything that came out, pretty much like there would be periods of time where no games came out for like a week or two.
Yeah, I loved it.
You remember that, dude?
Yeah.
You remember those times? Like N64 was like that for months. Like it was fucking barren on that thing, bro. If you were a launch kid on N64, you better really have liked Wave Race and Mario 64, Super Mario 64, like because you weren't getting another game for a while, bro. Until like Glover came out or whatever. Like it was rough, man. It was rough. It was a rough time, but we didn't give a shit. We were so happy, So I think you're right. Oversaturation is real. Like there's too many games, It's like, I mean, there's literally hundreds of video games that release every fucking week, and it's probably thousands, which is absurd. There are not that many people who play games, to support all this shit. It's like, so that's the other issue, I think, too, is that the industry's just grown too wide. In how many, like in terms of quantity, there's just too many video games out there. And I don't know. It's like but it is what it is, though. Like we live in a capitalist society, bro. Like the industry's not going to stop growing, right? It's like it's always going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. Like that's what they're trying to do. So it kind of is what it is. But it is interesting. I don't know, these numbers right now, year-to-date sales numbers are like, this is, I'm sure there's a lot of alarm bells going off in certain companies, right now. But to close us out, let's do top 20 best-selling games for February in the US. Number 1, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Number 3, Civilization 7. Number 4, PGA Tour 2K25. Number 5, NBA 2K25. Number 6, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 7, Avowed. Number 8, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. What a title. Number 9, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 10, Madden NFL 25. Number 11, Minecraft. Number 12, EA Sports FC 25. Number 13, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Number 14, Red Dead Redemption 2. 15, Hogwarts Legacy. 16, EA Sports College Football 25. 17, Helldivers 2. 18, Elden Ring. 19, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And 20, Astro Bot. What's jumping out to you there, Montrell?
Kind of want you to read the other list because I think that list is interesting as well.
Top 20 for the year?
Yeah, I think that's. Okay. I think this one's more interesting because it gives you a paints a picture, in my opinion.
Okay. Number 1, Monster Hunter Wilds. Number 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Number 3, Civilization 7. Number 4, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Number 5, NBA 2K25. Number 6, PGA Tour 2K25. Number 7, Madden NFL 25. Number 8, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 9, fucking 5. Jesus fucking Christ. Number 9, EA Sports FC 25. Number 10, Minecraft. Number 11, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 12, Marvel Spider-Man 2. Number 13, Avowed. Number 14, EA Sports College Football 25. Number 15, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. 16, Hogwarts Legacy. 17, Donkey Kong Country Returns. 18, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. 19, Helldivers 2. And 20, Elden Ring. What picture does it paint to you?
I'm actually very proud of the first 3.
Yeah.
Best-selling games of the year, between 2024 and 2025 of the year. Yeah. Monster Hunter being up there, obviously I knew Monster was going to make it up there. I didn't think it was going to be this popular though. It's kind of crazy. I didn't think it was going to be this popular.
I knew it would be. I knew this game was going to be massive, bro. It's just it is what it is. It broke through the mainstream, man. Like it really did. Yeah. And it is a heavy
wild concept to me, man.
It's a heavy hitter now, dude. It's in the Elden Ring pantheon, I think, in terms of sales. Like I think
it's still wild where it came from, because I remember like no one was buying this game when we were playing
it. Nobody even knew what it was. I'm sure they would look at you sideways and be like, what the fuck are you playing, Montrell? That game looks like ass, bro. Like you dodging like squares. Like what are you doing? You know, like
you couldn't explain it. It was so fun. You just can't explain it.
Yeah, you can't explain it, bro.
She hates monsters. She's like, I don't understand why you just beat up on the monsters. I just don't get it. Why
do you
continually hunt the same monsters? Like,
it's brutal. We're hunting them to extinction. You know, but yeah, I mean, I agree. So I agree with you. Go ahead, keep going.
I'm sorry. No, continue your thought. I'm sorry.
No, you're going to talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm going to talk about Civ 7. So
okay. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance is another game. Like I feel like it's a very niche game, and obviously there's a very, very high thirst for a game like this. I
think it's reminding people of Baldur's Gate in some ways.
Yeah, and I think people want, like, I think that's why Dragon Age disappointed a lot of people so much, because people really want these deep RPGs, with like, you know, branching choices and stuff of that nature. And then Civilization 7, I know you have a very, very love-hate relationship.
I'm so biased at this point. It's insane. So, okay, what I'll say about Civ 7 though, like these sales this is impressive, obviously, but I will tell you, I've been monitoring this situation, and this game is struggling right now. Like, people are not happy with it. Its player count is well below Civ 6, and it is struggling to beat Civ 5 in terms of concurrent player count day to day right now.
Is it that bad? Holy shit!
Yes. It's I think people are very disappointed with what Firaxis was able to put together with this game, and I mean, I haven't played it, so I don't know, but honestly, the things I've read about it don't sound very appealing. I think I talked about this when Civ 7 was about to launch, and why I'm not like super interested in the game is that, and this is going back to my concept of like how many times can you play Assassin's Creed over the course of your fucking life. I'm at that point with Civilization. How many different ways can I play the same fucking game? I've played Civilization. I know what Civilization is, and I know the concepts. I know what they do. There's very little wiggle room for the design tenets of Civilization as a video game. And I think that's why I think Firaxis recognized that with 6. I think 6 to them was their perfection of what the formula had been up until that point. And I would say, from my perspective, that's true from a design standpoint. Like, that game is really well designed. It's really cool the way the game plays and the systems that work. I will say it is overly complicated and is hard to get into as a result. But so with 7, what they decided to really change things up with 7, and they wanted to change the formula of Civ into something different, which I appreciate. Actually, I think it's really ballsy of them to do. And it's very easy for that to result in what is happening now, where people are very upset and they're not happy with the game. So I'm not going to bag on Firaxis too hard, because I appreciate them trying something different. Because when a game series gets up to its 7th entry, I don't really understand how you make it interesting anymore. And especially with a game series that isn't narrative driven or something like that. Like, there's no story in Civ. You're just playing the game. It's just a game, with mechanics, and game systems. It's like, so I kind of appreciate it from that perspective. However, I think modern day Firaxis is not up to this task to me. They build their games now with DLC in mind, where they almost build the game incomplete in order to sell you the complete version of it later for more money in pieces. And they learned this from Paradox, because Paradox does this with their grand strategy games. And I just think people are tired of it with Firaxis and Civ, and paying $70, or in some cases $100, for the people who did the Head Start version. I just don't think it's being received very well when you're paying that much money for a game and it's very clear that it's not ready. It's not complete, And
I'm reading a comment, and the top comment said, "So basically, just wait 5 years for the Super Ultra Platinum Edition."
100%. Yeah, dude. No, that is the strategy with Civ, dude. For me, is literally, yes, that is the answer to what should you buy Civilization? Yeah, wait 5 years and you'll get it for $20 on sale with all the DLC. When they've released 2 expansions and they have like 20 DLC packs. That is the actual answer. Like, that's what you should be doing with Civ. Like, don't play it on launch, because you're gonna get a shit game. It's gonna be worse than Civ 6. It's guaranteed gonna be worse than Civ 6. Civ 6 is a game that's been out for 9 fucking years. It came out in 2016. It has 2 expansions, like tons of DLC that's added over the year. They have like a fucking Frontier Pass that they did the last few years, where they added all these like modes and different like versions of like options and shit you can customize the game with. Of course, Civ 7 wasn't going to come out with that robust level of feature set and content. Civ's always been like this. Civ 4 into Civ 5 was one of the most disappointing transitions I've ever seen. I hated Civ 5. Dude, when that game came out, it was so bare bones. There was nothing going on. It was so boring. It was literally just like hit end turn, watch numbers go up. That's the game. Like, it's just like, it was terrible. But you were comparing it against something that's had years and years of development, And I'm not saying that's not fair. Firaxis does this to themselves. That's their fucking model. That's their mark. That's the model they make their games with, and they should not do that, is my opinion. So I'm not saying it's not fair, but I will say from a consumer standpoint, walking into this game on launch with the expectation that it's going to even be 30% of what Civ 6 is complete folly. Like, you're fooling yourself if you thought that was a possibility,
And you know what? I can see Monster Hunter run into this. I think I'm actually, as much as I praise that game as well, I'm actually proud, or I'm actually kind of ecstatic that people are calling this game out. People are like, well, you put 100 hours into it. And I was on that side too, right? I put 100 hours into it and it's not enough content. But it's just like, or I'm already done with the content. And you put 60 hours into it, you're like, I'm already done playing the game. Like, I don't need to play it anymore. I'm maxed out already. Or I'm not going to min-max.
Yeah.
And I think if I was Capcom, if I was the Monster Hunter team, I would take note and I would fight Capcom tooth and nail. The next game, we have to release some kind of version of G rank with it, because this is not going to fly. Or release a whole bunch of monsters with it, because this is not going to fly in the next game. I feel like if they do this next game and then they release, 6 years or 7 years later, they release another Monster Hunter, and it's just bare bones Monster Hunter, people are like, bro, we went through
Well,
this with
people are going to
Wilds.
turn on it, right? Like
Yeah.
we are at what I think probably is the peak of Monster Hunter from a financial standpoint.
Yes.
If
I
they
agree.
continue to do what they've done with this game and Rise and even World to a lesser extent with the next game, which the next game's probably a Switch 2 game more than likely. But if they do that again and then the game after that, whatever the follow-up to Wilds is, if they do it again there, I can see the trajectory start going down there, you know.
Yep.
If they don't do what you're saying. I agree with you. And maybe that's okay with Capcom's okay with that, probably with that proposition maybe, but I think if they want to continue this trajectory of upward popularity, like they need to do what you said. I don't necessarily I don't know if the answer is G rank in the base game per se. I would love that. I think
I,
you would
I
love
I
that.
think just
I think
it just
the vets would love that
the
actually.
vets would love
But
that, but I think
yeah.
I actually like the concept of arch tempered and tempered because they're not G rank, but they're just enough to hold me over, right? The problem is I need more monsters to hunt. I need more weapons to get. I
I just
need
think the
more like
game needs to evolve. You know, I think that's the thing I'm most disappointed with Wilds is like we were talking about the game being open world, you know, prior to it coming out and when they were initially showing it, and it's not open world, right? The environments are huge; they're bigger than they've ever been, but it's not an open world game, right? And I think that's more what I want to see personally with the growth of the franchise is more of like a turn it into more of like a living breathing actual open world, and it's more of almost like an RPG. Obviously you can still have the monster grind there and the gear grind there, but I want there to be like what they did with the story in this game. Like I kind of want them to expand on that actually, you know. But it needs to be in a way that's like really integrated with the game world. It can't be like a, you know, a fucking Witcher thing where you walk up to an NPC and you talk to them for 15 minutes, you know, and you have like giant dialogue trees. That's not what I'm asking for. But I am like, I do want there to be like an immersive element to the world where you are interacting with people and not just
mm,
monsters, you know?
okay.
And
I'm actually on the not the opposite end of the spectrum. I really want them to elaborate or expand on the open world hunting aspect of it, right?
I agree with that too. Yeah,
Um
definitely.
I
Where
think
you're like
there's nothing
really hunting the monster. You know, it doesn't just tell you where
yeah,
to go. Yeah.
it doesn't tell you where to go. And on top of that, I think we're at a spot now, technology wise, to where you can have 20 hunters in the lobby, and I'm hunting the Rathos over there, and then I can see you hunting uh, a Yin Kutku over there. You know, I can see that over there.
Yeah.
A party of hunters doing that over there, and I think that's what disappointed me. Like I wanted to go out and I see like, oh, I saw this guy hunting a Yin Kutku. Let me help him join him join him in the hunt or whatever. And then it
Right.
starts my quest starts or whatever.
That's yeah, yeah. More
Um,
immersive multiplayer. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
I like
that's
that. Where
kind of what
you have like emergent gameplay, you know.
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm disappointed in because that's kind of how they framed it. But
Yeah.
also, I did go media dark on this, so I can't get too disappointed because I went media dark on it. I just think games soak too much of the game.
Yeah. Or
But
actually, I think also other things I'd like to see is an expansion of like the gathering systems in the game where it's not so simplistic the way it is now, where you just like you walk up to the node and you hit circle and you gather the thing. You know, like maybe there's some actual gameplay there or something.
yeah,
Um,
I can see that going like really bad really quickly. Though I
True.
can see
Yeah.
people get
Sure. If they do it wrong, yeah, for sure. But you can make that interesting. I don't know. I just like it doesn't. Maybe not on like the core things on like mining and shit like that. But I just like a little more depth on like the. I want the game to be more like I don't want to say realistic, but you do you understand what I mean? Like it's more like a simulation almost, like more originally what Monster Hunter felt like back in the day. You know.
yeah,
Or at
yeah.
least what
No,
it was trying to feel like. I feel like I still feel like they've gotten away from that a lot, you know. Um,
I agree. I think I really want them to, like you said, expand upon the hunting aspect of the game. I really do want to feel like I'm tracking the monster and hunting the monster, stuff like that. And I want I don't need the scout flies. I think we should bring back the paintball shit. Like
yeah,
and then like the paint drops on the ground when they leave. because I'm paintballing it. So like I don't know. That's just my opinion on it though. But maybe the change they did obviously worked because people are really into it. But maybe in the next game, since people are used to it by now, they can like kind of cut back on some systems and make it a little bit more tougher. Another game I am actually excited to see on here is about. I didn't think this game was going to take off, but people love this game, and I'm actually thinking about getting this game myself.
Okay.
So yeah, it looks
sign
really
up for
cool.
Game Pass, bro. You'll get that. You'll get Expedition 33, I think, next month, right?
Oh, that shit does come out next month, doesn't it? Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that other game comes out. Fuck, what is it called? South of Midnight's coming out next month.
That's also next month as well. So
yeah,
that's cool. But all right, let's move on to our final segment here. Guess the meta score. We have 2 games that we are following up on here. The first one, I'll start with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Montrell, you guessed, and we did two score guesses here. You guessed an 8.2 for the critic score, and I guessed a 7.7 for the critic score. The critic score is currently sitting at an 81 on PS5.
Oh my god!
And it's at a 78 on PC and an 85 on Xbox. So I'd say you take this one.
Okay.
Even though I'm closer on one of the platforms, but you're closer on 2 of them. So yeah, you got that one. And then the audience score. Where's the audience score? Oh, there are no user reviews. The game's not out yet. We're gonna have to follow up on this one next week. But yeah, we guessed audience score as well for the game, and you guessed a 3, and I guessed a 4.8. So we'll see where that lands. Because the Black Samurais of the game, and the game's woke as a result. So people will be very upset about that, as we've already seen this week. So, and then the second one was Atelier Yumiya, which is coming out tomorrow. You guessed a 7.5 on this one. I guessed a 7.9. It is currently sitting at an 80 on PS5, 84 on Xbox, 79 on Switch, and an 81 on PC. So I got this one.
Yep.
People are pretty positive about this game. I am actually really fucking excited about this game, dude. I was watching some gameplay.
Looks so fucking dope.
It looks really good. I'm definitely gonna play this one this year for sure. I don't know. Like again, dude. There's so many games right now because we had Wilds. I haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm trying to beat the first one and then play the second one. We got Xenoblade Chronicles X just came out today. We got Atelier coming out tomorrow. We've got Expedition 33 next month coming out. I'm like, bro, I'm already fucking dogpiled in terms of games right now. So I plan on playing this. I just don't know when. Right now. And but no, it looks really good. The combat looks a lot like majorly improved from Atelier Ryza 3 for me. So yeah, looks really good. Do you think you're gonna play it though yourself?
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna buy it tomorrow when it comes out. So
oh shit, okay, fair enough.
I'm probably not gonna play it tomorrow, but I'll probably play it like next month or something like that. But I am gonna buy it.
Yeah. Understood. Okay. All right, Montreal, that's all we had today. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we head out?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Well, guys, if you like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please subscribe to us on YouTube. If you'd like to interact with the show and send us a question, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that will be it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you next week.